Hi there, it's Erik here from the Building My Freedom Business podcast, and welcome to another episode with another interview with an amazing entrepreneur. His name is Matt Raad, and together with his wife, he runs a company called E-Business Institute, where they offer digital training courses for future-proof income, but also they give you the opportunity to learn from experienced online investors how to buy, build, and renovate and sell websites and digital assets to generate cash flow and a portfolio for the future. Enjoy.
All right, I want to welcome my next guest. And my next guest is all the way from Australia, as I'm based in the UK. His name is Matt Raad. And Matt Raad runs, together with his wife Liz, for I think the last 25 years, he runs a business called E-Business Institute. And you can find them at ebusinessinstitute.com.au. Matt, I want to welcome you to this podcast. First of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me and talk to anyone listening. And I want you to start, Matt, by just giving me a little tiny bit of a background. You know, I know you've been doing this for 25 years, but have you always been, how did you get from, let's say leaving school towards building this business? Give us a bit of a background story.
Wow, big credit. Thanks so much for having me on first, Erik. It's awesome. And it's right up our alley, building freedom businesses, where that's been Liz and my drive for the last 25 years since we first met at uni. Yep. And what's really interesting, I think it is a really big question for us because we're quite different when it comes to entrepreneurs. We started out as zoologists. That's where we met at uni, studying zoology. And we're experts in kangaroos, but there was no money in that. So fast forward to today, we buy and sell websites. That's what we're known for. And also for the E-Business Institute, where we teach people how to buy and sell websites. And get them.
Before you go further, Matt, because I feel you're jumping, I really want to know, how did you jump? How did you jump from kangaroos to the business that you're running now? Give me that little bit in the middle there.
Well, it ties in with your topic of finding a freedom business. Liz and I grew up in the country here in Australia, and there's a lot of freedom in that. So both of us did zoology. We thought, oh, cool, we'll be out studying animals, and that's what we want to do. We very quickly realized when you're a zoologist, you're not. You're typically in a city, in some lab, and you're stuck to funding from the government. And I come from not a wealthy background. And so I think that's one of the big things that always drove me. And ever since a kid, I saw my family grow up struggling financially, and I always wanted to be rich. So being blunt about it. But I had no idea how to do it. I knew no wealthy people at all. My family, very working class and everything. And also my dad was a farm manager. So it gave us a lot of freedom, but not a lot of money. Mm. And so going from zoology, it just wasn't going to work. So we got into a small manufacturing business. We bought it with the help of family. And basically it was one of those things where we realized a manufacturing business actually can give us freedom. So rather than doing the 9 to 5 or being stuck with funding from some government department, we realized if we get a business working, this is our own thing. We're young. We had no family at that point. So we could take a few risks, and we took massive risks financially, but we had no money anyway. So we just went for it, borrowed money, did everything you had to do. And basically we got this little weird manufacturing business. But what set us up for the course of our entrepreneurial journey is we were totally naive. We knew nothing about valuing a business. We were given the wrong advice. And once we got into the business, whilst we loved it, we quickly discovered it was going bankrupt. And it was a pretty scary time. We had to hustle pretty darn quickly. We had to learn how to sell. And I think, so ever since that day, and this is important to everyone listening, if you ever hang out with Liz and I, or you hear the stuff, you'll see we're very passionate about understanding how to value a business. It's kind of fundamental because it nearly sent us bankrupt a couple of times. And we've seen so many people make mistakes there because most people don't know how to do it. Most people don't sell a business, especially internet businesses. So that's one of the key things we teach these days. And we're really good at it now, where we've bought and sold lots and lots of businesses. And we cut a long story short, we were really successful with that business. I make it sound really easy. It was actually 10 years. It took us 10 years to get the overnight success. But we built the business back up. We got it to, we're exporting, and it was all, lots of parts of that business were outsourced, which meant we could buy and sell other businesses. And so we literally just started at ground zero and just started buying and selling business, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and building them up. And we always owned that underlying business for 10 years. And then we started doing it professionally for high net worth. And that was kind of where things got really, really interesting, doing deals up to 20 mil. And that was pretty cool. Wow. That was really good. Yeah. So
Matt,
that's our background. And then today we now do it with websites, and it's a hell of a lot easier.
I'll come to that in a sec, because you know, there's one thing that I am passionate about, and that is family relationships. That gets me going. And you said that you're working with your wife for 25 years, or at least 25 years. And you, in the pre-chat, you told me also your children are getting involved in parts of it. So tell me and tell the listeners, what helps you to keep those relationships healthy? Because, you know,
good question.
Building your business, those 10 years that you said, the overnight success that took 10 years, from personal experience, building a business can be extremely stressful, particularly in relationships. So give us a bit of an idea what you guys do that helps things go slightly smoother than you know, the challenge that it could be.
Yeah, that's an awesome question, Eric, and good insight. And it's one of the things that some people are like you, family people always notice, when they hear that Liz and I work together 24/7 for the last 25 years, like, wow, how do you do that? And the short answer is, as you were asking that question, what was coming up in my head was, I think it's that Liz and I have a shared vision or shared goals, very similar, very aligned. We're both from the country. We both always wanted freedom. And we always wanted, literally, here we are talking about freedom businesses. That's literally been our driving goal from basically the day we started going out. You know, when I started talking about it with Liz, it was mainly me. That was my passion. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur and be successful and be financially free. And because I didn't come from that background. And then when Liz and I started going out, she came along for the ride. And then it turns out we discovered we share very similar values. But I think if I boiled it down to like a simple thing that your listeners can take, I think it's that we constantly sit and share with each other our goals. So whilst we're two very different people, Liz is very outgoing and all that sort of stuff. And back then I was very shy and quiet. I've changed quite a lot over the years, and that's partly from hanging out with Liz. We both grow together, but all the time I guess the simplest answer is, we've just shared the same goals, and we talk about it constantly, and we check in with each other. Are we on path here? And by the way, that's also goals in we have 3 big areas in our lives. It's called health, wealth, and happiness. So, well, for me, wealth comes first, and then health and happiness, but they vary a bit. But basically those 3 key areas we are constantly working on together. And so I think, like you said, it does get stressful at times, but generally it's not, because we're a team working to a shared goal. And of course, probably like yourself, you know, I know you've got kids, you know what it's like, and you own multiple businesses as well. Life does get pretty hectic and busy, but when kids come along, I think it actually, personally, it makes it better, because if you've got an even higher goal, which is now it's a family, and we're doing this not just for me and Liz, but for our family, long term. So that's probably what drives us and is what helps us work together so well.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, you said wealth comes first for you. Why? Why does wealth comes first rather than, for example, health?
Health is really important, and I train with my kids and with Liz and everything and all that sort of stuff. But for me, I'm just being honest about it. It sucked being poor. And I never want to go back there. I don't like it. It scares the crap out of me. You find that with a lot of high net worths. We're very fortunate. We get to meet and hang out with a lot of very high net worths, some ultra high net worths, and a lot of them who are self-made. all say the same thing. When you get them over a few beers or whatever, or proper big, deep and meaningful with them, they will often say, yeah, I'm running. I don't want to go back to where it was when I was a kid. And I'm certainly like that. I hate the feeling of being out of control financially. It's not a comfortable feeling at all. So I know what it's like to live on the edge financially, particularly when you're selling bricks and mortar businesses. It's really stressful.
Yeah.
Also, as a kid, I think it was programmed into me as a kid.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm driven by the stick, not the carrot. So, the fear.
Okay.
And I've noticed that with a lot of our friends as well, who've done a similar thing to us, and also people that I've advised and helped over the years. So it's an interesting one. And these days, like I never used to think it was such a big driver for me, but I've done a lot of mindset work, and I realized, you know what, that's what it is. Hey, that works for me, and everyone in my family knows that's what I'm like, or my friends know. That's just, when I was a kid, I was always into trading and working out. My most common question was, how much does that cost? I always want to know how much things cost, and it's like, oh wow, and so, and I think also early in life, my mum was a single mum, and she remarried. And so I think those years before mum remarried, it was really tough financially. And I guess that, impregnates in your little brain, it's not good being poor. So I think that's a big driver for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you said from the beginning of your journey, freedom was a really important element.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I can see that in your journey, that drive. So take me to the place that, describe first to me, who are your customers? Who is the person that comes to you for your help?
In e-business, so we own quite a few websites and stuff.
Well, let's focus on the e-business.
On e-business, yeah. So it's people who probably like the very kind of people who are listening to your podcast who want to get freedom in their lives, either financial freedom or time. So one of the other big things that drives Liz and I is also freedom of choice, like time to do whatever we want. So Liz isn't driven by money at all. She has no interest in it. She's more about freedom of time. And so that's who we tend to attract into our business, people who want either like what Liz wants, which is freedom to be with family and time. And that's what I want as well. Or people who want a better financial future or financial security. We're big on that. So the kind of people we help are total beginners who want to get online. That's pretty much our niche these days.
So describe, if you can, sort of the journey that they go on. They arrive at your website, or they arrive at a webinar or something that you do. Describe the journey that they go on. And I understand that you also have an accelerator program, if I'm correct. So describe, and a free training program, I understand. So describe a little bit the journey that people go through from when they meet you to how you help them, and at the end, what the transformation is and what they might have at the end.
Awesome. All right. So what we do is, because our strategy is quite unique, it's quite different to what other online educators are teaching out there. We just teach literally what Liz and I have done over the last decade doing this, which is buy and sell websites and how to build them. And so what we suggest is, if you're interested, a lot of people haven't even heard of this. They don't know how it works. They don't even know the basic strategy, like how do you value a website? Where would you buy it? Why would you buy one rather than build one? What's involved? I'm a total beginner. So what we do is, we've got a free masterclass on our website that you can sign up for. It goes for 90 minutes. And we literally just take you through our strategy, because so many people ask us all these questions, how do you do it? Yeah. So we've got a free training session there. It goes for 90 minutes. You can listen to it. At the end of it, if people are interested, they can do our full course, which is a study at home course. But what the outcomes are and what we suggest to anyone, whether or not you do our course, it doesn't matter. But what my recommendation is, if you want to get out of your job and you want that freedom, is start an online business. Don't go down the bricks and mortar route like Liz and I used to. It's so much easier these days to get online. You can do it in your gym, in your pajamas at home at night. It doesn't actually have to cost you much, particularly when you're learning. You can do a lot of it for free. You can just set up little simple websites. And of course, we suggest you start learning this journey of buying websites, because it's a big thing now. And they're hugely valuable assets. And basically what we do, Erik, is teach people a safe way to get online, so there's hardly any risk, which you got to have a bit of money.
Yeah.
But basically we start people out, look, why don't you just buy a website under $1,000? That's probably the easiest way. Everyone, if you can't afford, you know, a couple $100 or $500 or $1,000, then you probably shouldn't be doing our strategy. But most people that we're working with are professionals, or, you know, they earn a bit of money and they just want to get out of their stressful jobs. So we start them out quite small, buy a little tiny website to learn on, a couple $100, maybe $500, and you just learn on that. And then as you get better and you learn a few things, then you step it up. You might buy a site for $1,000, and you might buy a website for $3,000. And these sites are, they're not truly passive. You got to do some work, but they're pretty much semi-passive.
Yeah.
So what the beautiful thing is, people who are working full-on jobs can work on these in the evenings, in their part-time. So it's kind of like doing a bit of part-time, what do you call it, the side hustle at first. And basically you just work on them, build them up, and then you might flip them, get the money back and reinvest it into a bigger site. And talking of results, so I just love this example because it's just fresh in my mind. Now, one of our members, she's been with us for quite a few years. One of the sites that she learnt on, right, it cost her $2,000. It's just an affiliate site. All it does is advertise products. She doesn't sell any products. So we don't teach e-commerce type stuff at all. It's all just advertising. And she bought this site for $2,000 and it was making a couple of $100 a month. Then she renovated it. This is over a period of a couple of years. And she got it up to making $2,000 a month. So this is a learner site. That's a good income. And everyone in our community was really excited because she was celebrating it on our Facebook page. Now she's up to $5,000 a month.
Wow.
And just in the last few months, she's up to $7,000 a month. So that's pretty much replacing a full-time wage for a lot of people. This is off a simple little site that she bought to learn off. And now, just in the last, I think it's in the last 2 weeks, she's just posted on the Facebook page, she's hitting $1,000 days. That's net profit. That's not sales, that's net profit. This is a passive site that, you know, she's done some work on it. So that's an awesome, outstanding result, but that's the cool kind of thing. She knew nothing about websites when she first joined us. Had no idea. She's a property investor. She's a stay-at-home mum.
Can I tap in, Matt? Can I tap into your knowledge here? You know, this lady is, you know, doing really well at the moment. If you want to sell your business, because I know there are different online businesses, what is the multiples that people can expect to get? And how does that work? Can you give me a little bit of insight in that?
Yep. So talking my favorite topic, valuing websites. Obviously, it's a big area. You should listen to our webinar. But it's actually pretty simple. It's just a multiplier of the profit. So if a website makes $1,000 a month, in the current market, it's selling on what's called a 20 times monthly, or roughly, let's just say, like a traditional business, 2 to 3 times yearly. So basically, if that website makes $1,000 a month, which is 12 grand a year.
Is that profit or is that turnover?
Profit, always profit, not sales. So we don't deal in, I want to reiterate, we don't like e-commerce websites as such, because our background is manufacturing and wholesale import businesses. And that's where, of course, you deal with lots and lots of stock or inventory. And we don't ever want to go back there because you're in debt to the bank all the time. But you've got all your net worth tied up in a warehouse somewhere. I never want to be in that position ever again. That's why we love what we do online, which is we literally just sell advertising or we sell leads. So there's no risk for us really outside of, it's not like we're holding a warehouse full of stock anymore. So when you come back to valuing these businesses, at the moment, the market's running really hot. Valuations have gone up quite a lot in the last 12 months because of COVID and everything, and everyone now wants to get online. And so, which is good. There's lots of opportunity. That means there's even more opportunities, more buyers, there's more money around. You've got private equity and high net worths coming in, big corporates buying up these sites. So valuations on a small, simple site could be 2 to 3 times yearly. On a site like Lisa's, the one that I just described, when she's having $1,000 days, that could easily turn into I don't think it'll maintain $1,000 days every single day, but that simple little site now could be worth anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million.
Cool.
So
that's nice.
So it's massive leverage. So that's another strategy now that we teach, and we're encouraging people, because that you got to think out the next 5 years, because website valuations are going up. It's a really, really smart time now to be building websites because it's free. You can do that yourself part-time, and it's an asset that you're building over the next 5 years. This is not a get-rich-quick thing, by the way. This is a slow burn strategy, but like Lisa. So I know, again, I'm making it sound really easy with Lisa's example. You got to realize that's taken her 3 years to get to that.
Yeah.
But that's when you think about it, that's a better investment than possibly sticking your money in the bank or buying real estate. Who knows where real estate's going to be?
Yeah.
With websites, you want to think of them as just little mini cash cows throwing off $1,000 a month or 10,000 a month or whatever. That's hugely valuable no matter what the economy is doing. So I don't think you can lose at the moment.
I see how extremely passionate you are about this topic. I mean, that smile on your face says enough there. So that's really cool to see. But you and I got connected through Superfast Business.
Yes, with James.
And so I want to know from you. I mean, I can't remember how long you have been a member, but being a member of that community, how has that benefited you?
Oh, it's been awesome for Liz and I. So that's with James Schramko. Liz and I have known James because he's in Australia like us.
Yeah.
We all kind of started online around the same time, about over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And we met James at a couple of events, because we speak at lots of events in Australia. But with the pandemic coming along, our business model had to change with what we do with E-Business Institute. So that's when we got talking to James, and we actually joined James's Silver Circle, which was awesome for us.
Cool.
So because we'd always more focused on our website businesses, our individual, our portfolio. Yeah. And then when we started talking to James, we had a very good business in E-Business Institute. It's quite boutique. And he said to us, look, you can grow this quite a lot online with what you do. And it's worked out really well. It's gone really well for us.
Good, fantastic.
And we were able to help James with a few ideas as well. Like, we told him about some ways to monetize some of his portfolio sites a bit better, and how you value them and what they might be worth in the current market. So that's obviously our specialty. So we were able to help James out with some cool stuff too.
Yeah, swap knowledge with each other. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last question. What's the future for Matt and Liz?
Really good question. It's actually, we're really excited about the E-Business Institute now. We're having an absolute ball. We've decided, and our kids are really interested in building and buying websites as well. So the market is really, really, it's just suddenly boomed for buying and selling websites. Yeah. And so we're really excited about what we're doing. Our business now this E-Business has been around for 10 years. And so I think, again, it's that 10-year success thing. We're really excited about it. We've got a wonderful community. We've got a lot of students here in Australia, and it's a very family feel. So we're all very close. So what I like, even though, there's a lot of us, what holds the future, I'm excited about the next 5 years for E-Business Institute and our students as well. Like, what's good is, Erik, in the last few years, we've had some massive success stories like the one I just described with Lisa. We've got lots and lots of success stories for students now. Yep. We're able to quit their jobs and earn 6-figure incomes online, working from home, and they're family people. And I think that's just really exciting for us. So we want to continue that. That's a big, big part for us.
All right.
And teaching it the same stuff to our kids.
I know. So let's say someone is listening. I can picture someone listening. I'm listening and I'm curious now. But if I want to learn more about what you do, where can they find you? Where can they find information? How can people connect to you?
So all they got to do is they can Google Matt and Liz Raad, RAAD, or they can just go to our website, which is the E-Business Institute. I know it's a big, long word, ebusinessinstitute.com.au. And I would suggest opt in for the free training. and just check it out. It'll take you 90 minutes. It might change your, well, hopefully it will change your life, but it'll at least give you a background of where to start. So we show you how you can get into buying and selling websites, and we'll show you lots and lots of examples of the sorts of sites we buy. So I think that's probably the best spot. And then maybe have a look around on our blog or jump onto our Facebook page and meet some of our community members and read some of their stories.
Fantastic, Matt. Matt, thank you so much. Really, I find every time I find it amazing that you haven't never spoken to someone and there you are connecting. And you see another person who is as passionate about building a business and what it does in their life. So I appreciate your energy. I appreciate your knowledge. And I would encourage everyone who is interested in what you were talking about to go and contact you, or even just say hi to you. And
awesome.
Thank you for this podcast. So I'm going to say goodbye to you, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future.
And thanks so much for having me on, Erik. It's just wonderful. It's awesome. Awesome questions.
Good. You're welcome. Take care.
Thank you.